going to discuss about the previous session answers. And like I have already given you the quiz questions on previous video, and today we're going to discuss that answers. And apart from that, we're going to discuss some kind of attacks. Okay, motive what kind of motive of attacks and motive of attacks, motive of attackers. And at the end of the video, we're going to see the again some 4 to 5 kind of quiz questions. Okay. Okay. Now let us discuss. On the previous video, we started some 6 questions, right? So we'll discuss the answers now. Okay. Yes. It is told that what is the simplest way to stop brute force cyber attacks dead in their tracks? So for this question, as I told, you guys told that comment in the chat box. So let's see the answer. The simplest way to stop the brute force cyber attacks is option C. That's add a few unique characters to any password or PIN. Okay, by adding a password, some characters to the PIN, or some kind of strong password that will stop the brute force cyber attack. Okay, so remember the option will be C. Okay, C is the option for first question. Okay. Yes, coming to the second question, as we discussed that what is the quickest way to stop a suspected app device or OS from spying on you? So for this question, we have already discussed that the correct option will be log out of the suspected device or account and about your day. The option number B is the correct option. Okay, so go through once again. The option number B is the correct one. All right. Now moving on to the third question. What is the weakest link in the cybersecurity? So link in the that means the humans are the weakest because weak encryption, short passwords, these are the kind of cybersecurity included. But humans are not the kind of cybersecurity involved, right? So option B will be the answer. And coming to fourth one, what's your first thing you should do in the company in facing the ransom? Okay, so what happens if the company faces a ransomware demands? Okay, the option will be contact the police and do not pay the ransom. The option C will be the correct thing. Okay, so determine if a ransomware demand is legitimate and follow the instructions to get back the money. The fourth one, the correct option will be C. Option C will be your correct option. Okay. And for the fifth one, which of the following these will be a comprehensive cyber insurance not protected user? For this question, the option will be A. That is the poor security of cyber hygiene and implementation. Option will be A. Okay? Yes. And coming to the sixth question, what's the best way to secure a weak password like monkey123? What do you guys think for this question? The option will be enabling two-factor authentication. Okay. For question number 6, the answer will be C. Enabling two-factor authentication. Got it? Once again, we'll revise. For question number 6, the answer will be enabling two-factor authentication. For question number 5, the option will be A. Pure security, hygiene, and implementation. For question number 4, the option will be C. Contact the police and do not pay the ransom. And for question number 3, option will be B. Humans. And for question number 2, the answer will be log out of suspected device or account and go about your day. Option B. And for question number one, the answer will be option C. Add a few unique characters to any password or PIN. Okay, and also comment your answers below. I will check over it. Okay. Now let's moving on to our session. Yeah, motive of attackers. Okay. In the previous sessions, we have been discussed about what are the available CIA triad, like confidentiality, integrity, and availability triad, and what is hazard, what is threat, what is vulnerability, how it works, and types of vulnerability. Okay, type of attacks. So these are the things that we have been discussed in early classes, like the 7 layers of cybersecurity and how the 7 layers work, what is vulnerability, what is cyber threats, and yes, like what are the categories of vulnerability, what are the attacks types, and finally we have also saw the CIA triad and the types of threats. There are two types of threat: intentional threat and accidental threat. Like intentional threat and accidental threat. Okay, there are two types of threats. Okay. Now moving on to the art session. Today's session will be like motive of attackers. Okay, you can see the categories of cyber attackers enable us to better understand the attacker's motivation and the actions they take. Right. However, the operational cybersecurity risk arise from three actions. Okay, how the cybersecurity risk arises? These are from three actions. Like first one will be inadvertent actions. Second one will be deliberate action. Third one will be inaction. Okay. What is that inadvertent action? It's nothing but they are taken without the malicious or harmful intent. Okay. They are taken without the malicious or harmful intent. This is the first thing. Coming to deliberate action, what is this deliberate actions? This by insiders or outsiders. So these deliberate actions are taken intentionally and are meant to do harm. Okay, so inaction such as failure to act in even situation, either because of lack of appropriate skills, knowledge, guidance, or availability of correct person to take action of primary concern here, deliberate actions. Okay, so which there are three categories of motivation. Okay, you can see here the main types and operational security risk arises from three types of action. The first action is inadvertent actions. Second one is deliberate action. The third one is inaction. Okay, you can see the proper definition for that. Inadvertent action is nothing but it's generally by insiders because inadvertent actions are taken without the malicious or harmful intent. Okay, and coming to deliberate actions, these are taken by insiders or outsiders. That is taken intentionally are meant to do to harm. Deliberate means it's similar like intentionally doing harm. That is known as deliberate action. And inaction is nothing but generally by insiders, such as failure to act in a given situation, either because of lack of appropriate skills, knowledge, guidance, or availability of correct person to take action of primary concern. So here are the deliberate actions and which there are three categories of motivation. Okay, yeah. You need to see the three categories of motivation. Like first one is the political motivation, second one is economical motivation, like economic motivation. Third one is socio-cultural motivation. Okay. So examples include destroying so for political motivation. Examples include destroying, disrupting, or taking control of targets. espionage, and making political statements, protest, or retaliatory actions. Okay, these are the basic political motivations that we are receiving. And coming to economic motivations, yeah, these are the examples include theft of intellectual property or other economic valuable assets. Example funds, credit card information, fraud, industrial espionage, and sabotage, and blackmail. So these are the economic motivations. And coming to socio-cultural motivations, these are examples include attacks with like philosophical, theological, political, and even humanitarian goals. Right? These are the examples of socio-cultural motivation. And these also include fun, curiosity, and a desire for publicity or ego gratification. Okay, ego gratification. It's nothing but depending upon our political and humanitarian goals, they may cause some motivation, like we need to motivate and get aware of cybersecurity threats. Okay, this kind of way they are providing the motivation. First thing is the political motivation, economic motivation, socio-cultural motivations, and examples include attack with philosophical, theological, political, and even humanitarian goals. These are some kinds of cyber motivations we are coming. Now you can see here cyber attacker actions. This is a very much important that you just need to know about this. Like the cyber attacker actions has three types: inadvertent, deliberate, inadvertent, deliberate, and inaction. The three types of cyber attacker actions was inadvertent, deliberate, inaction. Okay, these are the three types of it. And deliberate is a form where we can have three kinds of it: political, economic, and social construct. Okay, these are three types. From cyber attacker actions, you can see inadvertent, deliberate, and inaction. For under the deliberate, you can see political, economic, and social culture. Okay, these are the questions and these are the important things you just need to know. I'll give you a 2 minutes of time. Just see the tablet. Okay, see this mind map. Okay. And yes, yeah. Now we are on to the next one. The types of cyber attacker actions and their motivations when delivered. Okay. So now we'll see about the type of cyber attacker actions. Coming to active attacks, an active attack is a network exploit in which a hacker attempts to make changes to data on the target or data intrude to the target. Okay, it's nothing but actively the hacker actively trying to destroy the data or the destroy the network. Okay, that's what active attack. There will be some types of active attacks. Okay, so yeah. The types of active attacks will be masquerade. Okay, so masquerade in this attack, the intruder pretends to be a particular user of the system to gain access or to gain greater privileges than they are authorized of. Okay, so masquerade may be attempted through the use of stolen login IDs and passwords, through finding security gaps in programs, or through bypassing the authentication mechanism. Okay, it's nothing but the hacker gains the data from the user trying some kind of login IDs, passwords, and finding security gaps in programs through bypassing the authentication mechanism. Okay, these are the active attacks and session replay. In this type of attack, it's also an active attack. Okay, yeah. This type of attack is hacker steals and unauthorized users log information by stealing the session ID. Okay, so by stealing the session ID, they can attack the data. The intruder gains access and the ability to do anything the authorized user can do on the website. Okay, it's nothing but they destroys the data by stealing your session ID. Okay, and the next one is message modification. In this attack, an intruder alters packet header addresses to direct a message to different destination, or they modify the data on the target machine. Okay, message modification nothing but by packet header addresses to message through direct messages itself they can attack you. And denial of service. Denial of service is nothing but the users are deprived of access to a network or web resource. Okay, this is generally accomplished by overwhelming the target with more traffic than it can handle. Yes, and in DDoS, like distributed denial of service, a large number of compromised systems, sometimes called a botnet or zombie army. Okay, attack a single target. It's nothing but the output, like we need to attack, the hackers will attack the single system, but the large number of, how to say, not a single system, it's a combined, combined togetherness of large number of systems, but within a single attack, the entire system is exploited. That is what distributed denial of service. Okay, yeah, but denial of service is nothing but destroying a particular network with the traffic, that kind of data issues. But distributed denial of service gives compromised systems, okay, large number of compromised systems. Sometimes it's called a botnet or zombie army that attack a single target. Okay, now I think you got the idea of attack. Now coming to the passive attack, passive attacks are relatively scarce from a classification perspective, but can be carried out with a relative ease. Okay, so particularly if the traffic is not encrypted. Okay, so this is how the passive attacks works. So I will let you share the screen of active and passive attack. Just go through these concepts. Okay, 2 minutes, and we'll move on to other topics. And you can see this. Yes, right. So let us move on to another session like eavesdropping. Eavesdropping is also a very important concept in cybersecurity, where the attacker simply listens to messages and that is exchanged by two entities, such as, uh, for example, the attacker to be useful, the traffic must not be encrypted. Any unencrypted information, such as password in response to an HTTP request, may be retrieved by the attacker. Simple as and unencrypted information such as password that is sent in response to the HTTP request. Maybe that is retrieved by the attacker. Okay. This attacker listens to the messages that is exchanged between two entities. You can see that is the eavesdropping, named as tapping, also named as tapping. Means it listens to the messages just is exchanged between the two entities. Okay. And coming to the traffic analysis, the attacker looks at the metadata transmitted in the traffic in order to reduce information relating to the exchange and participating entities. Okay. Example, the form of exchange to traffic rate, duration, in case where encrypted data are used. Traffic analysis can also lead to attacks by cryptanalysis, whereby the attacker may obtain information or succeed in unencrypting the traffic. Okay, it's nothing but the attacker looks at the metadata. So while transmitting the data in the traffic, it reduces the information relating to the exchange and participating in it. Example, the form of exchange in the traffic might be rate duration. In the cases where encrypted data are used, traffic analysis can also lead to attack by cryptanalysis, whereby the attacker may obtain information or succeed in unencrypting the traffic. Right? This is how the traffic analysis works on. And coming to the software attacks, it's nothing but So malicious code, sometimes called as malware, and is a type of software designed to take over a damage the computer user's operating system without the user's knowledge or approval. It can be very difficult to remove and very damaging. Right? So the common malware examples are listed in the below table. Okay, so we'll see the tables now. As we see in the previous sessions, like yeah, before moving into the examples of software attacks, just go through this page once again. So after this, we'll go to the examples of software attacks. Yes, we'll learn about the types of attacks, like software attacks. So as we see in the software attacks will be a virus. Okay, the first one will be the virus. Virus is a program that attempts to damage a computer system and replicate itself to other computer systems. Okay, simple as it requires a host to replicate and usually attaches itself to the host file or a hard drive sector. Okay, this is how it works. And also the replicates each time the host is used. Okay, like how to say it used to replicate each time the host is used. Often focuses on destruction or corruption of data. Right, as I told, for we human beings, we have the virus. Similarly, the system also has the virus. Okay. It usually attaches the files with execution capabilities such as dot executive and dot bat execution. Okay, this is how the files are being executed. And often distributes via email. Many viruses can email themselves to everyone in your address. Okay, these kind of viruses have been held in the computers. Stoned, Michelingo, Melissa, like these kinds of viruses. And worm is a self-replicating program that can be designed to do any number of things such as delete files or send documents via email. Right? So a worm can negatively impact network traffic just in the process of replicating itself. So a worm can install a backdoor in the infected computer, usually introduced to the system through vulnerability, infects one system and spreads to other systems on the network. Example code red. Yeah, this is like illustration of coming to Trojan horse is a malicious program that is disguised as legitimate software. So the discretionary environments are often more vulnerable and susceptible to Trojan horse attacks because security is user focused and user directed. Thus, the compromise of user account could lead to compromise of the entire environment. The Trojan horse functions will be that cannot replicate itself and often contains binary functions or the backdoor functions that allows the computer to be remotely controlled from the network. So yes, often it is useful for software such as screensavers or games. Example, the back orifice, netbus, and awake a mole, right? These are the common types of attacks. Trojan horse, okay. And logic bomb. Logic bomb is a malware that lies dormant until triggered. Okay, logic bomb is a specific example of synchronous attack. It's a asynchronous attack. So the trigger activity may be specific date and time. The launching of a specific program or processing of a specific type of activity. These logic bombs do not self-replicate. Okay, they are not involved in self-replication. Hardware attacks. The common hardware attacks include manufacturing backdoors for malware or the other penetrative purposes. Backdoors are not limited to software and hardware, but they also affect the embedded radio frequency identification, that is RFID chips and memory. I think you got an idea about the software attacks and this example. Okay, the system itself, the operating system gets damaged here. Types will be virus, worm, Trojan horse, and logic bomb. And now we're going to say about the hardware attacks, where the common attacks include eavesdropping by gaining access to protected memory without opening other hardware, including faults causing the interpretation of normal behavior. The hardware modification, tampering with invasive operations. Okay, these are the kind of things that, yes, of course, happenings in hardware attacks. Okay, and backdoor creation, the presence of hidden methods or by bypassing the normal computer authentication. So these are the some kinds of attacks and the hardware attacks that is involved in our system. And the thing that it includes as faults and it causes the interruption of normal behavior. These, however, forms a kind of hardware attacks. And coming to the last point, like counterfeiting products assert and hide counterfeiting product assets that can produce the extraordinary operations and those made to gain the malicious access to the system. Okay, this is how the counterfeiting products of the hardware system works. Okay? Coming to the cyber threats and the cyber warfare refers to the use of digital attacks like computer viruses and hacking by one country to disrupt the vital computer systems of another and with the aim of creating damage, death, and destruction. Future wars will see the hackers using the computer code to attack an enemy's infrastructure or fighting alongside troops using the conventional weapons like guns and missiles. These are the cyber warfare. Okay, so this is what the international warfare will be happens, guys. So, cyber warfare involves the actions by a nation state or international organization to attack and attempt the damage another's nation computer or the information network, right? Through, for example, the computer viruses or denial of service attacks, right? This is how the cyber warfare happens. Coming to the cybercrime. Cybercrime is a criminal activity that either targets or uses a computer and a computer network or a network devices. Cybercrime is committed by the cyber criminals or hackers who want to take that money. As it is that the criminals wants to take money and loss of data happens. And cybercrime is also carried out by individuals or organizations. Okay, it's happened by individuals or organizations. Some cyber criminals are organized to use advanced techniques and are highly technically skilled. Others are novice hackers. Okay, we can go through this once again. And yes, now moving on to the cyber terrorism. The cyber terrorism is the convergence of cyberspace and terrorism. Refers to unlawful attacks and threats of attacks against the computers, networks, and the information stored therein, like when to do intimate or coerce a government or its people in furtherance of the political and objective, social objective, right? This is what it means, like cyber terrorism. As an example, they have been given to you regarding hacking into the computer systems, introducing viruses to vulnerable networks, website defacing, denial of service attacks, or terroristic threats made via electronic communication, and cyber espionage, that is cyber spying or cyber espionage, is also known as cyber spying. Act or practice of obtaining secrets and information without a permission and knowledge of the holder of the information, right? So without giving knowledge of the holder information from individuals, competitors, rivals, groups, governments, or enemies for personal, economic, political, or military advantage using the methods on internet. This is how the cybercrime and cyber terrorism, cyber espionage was. Okay, so let's take a view on this. And yes, now moving on to security policies. Security policies are this formal set of rules which is issued by the organization to ensure the user has been involved in the particular thing or authorized access to the company or not, right? And also but is continuously updated as requirements of technology and employee changes, everything. Okay, this is how the security policy is considered to be a living document. Okay, it's nothing but there are formal set of rules which is issued by an organization to ensure that the user are authorized to access company technology and information assets comply with the rules and guidelines. Okay, and coming to the the living document. It's also called as the living document, which means that the document is never finished, but it continuously updates as the requirements of technology and the employee changes. This is how the security policies goes. And yeah, coming to we use the security policies to manage on network security. Most types of security policies are automatically created like during the installation, and we can also optimize the customized policies to suit our specific requirements. So this is how the security policies work. Need of security policies. It increases the efficiency. It upholds the discipline and accountability. It can make a break or business deal. And it helps to educate employees on security literacy. Right? This is how it works on security policies and the need of security policy. There are some important cybersecurity policies recommendations describes. Okay. First one is virus and spyware protection policy. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Virus and spyware protection policy. Okay. What does it mean? It helps to detect threats in files, to detect applications that exhibit suspicious behavior, removes and repairs the side effects of viruses, and security risk by using the signatures. Okay, this is how the security virus and spyware security works. And yeah, coming to firewall policy, it's nothing but it just blocks the unauthorized users from the accessing the systems and network. Okay, so it can that connect to the internet. This is how it works, and it detects the attackers by cyber criminals, attackers, and also removes the unwanted resources of network traffic. And coming to intrusion prevention policy, this policy automatically detects and blocks the network attacks and browser attacks. It also protects applications from vulnerabilities and checks the content of one or more data packages that detects malware which is coming through the legal ways. This is how the intrusion prevention policy will be done. Coming to applications of device control, the policy protects the system resources from applications and manages the peripheral devices that can attach to the system. So the device control policy applies both Windows and Mac computers, whereas the application control policy can be applied only to the Windows computer. Okay, so got it right. So what is prevention policy and protection policy, how it works, everything. So these are the ways we need to just revise this. Okay, just go through these points and we'll move on to the today's quiz questions. Okay. And yes, in today's session, we have seen some kind of motive of attackers. Like there are types of attackers: political motivation, economic motivation, socio-cultural motivations, and among that, deliberate has political, economic, social-cultural. The three types of are inadvertent, deliberate, and inaction, and the types of active attacks and passive attacks. So these are some kind of ways we have been learned in our today's session. And now moving on to as we completed the unit one of the cybersecurity, now we'll move on to the quiz questions. Okay, today's quiz questions. Yeah, today's quiz questions. Just go through the answers. Like comment me in the chat box regarding this kind of action, correct options. Okay. When using a VPN, that's the one thing that you cannot hide from IPS hackers and the government. Which is the correct option? The fact that you are using a VPN, or your identity, or your data? Which is the correct thing here that represents? Comment the correct option in the chat box. And moving on to the next question. What, like eighth question? Yeah, the best way to minimize your digital footprint is to option A, take fewer photos with your smartphone. Option B, travel less with your smartphone. Option C, post less on social media. Comment me down the correct option. And the next question is, what is the most valuable to companies looking to sell you something? The option, your phone number, your email address, your physical address. Comment me down the correct option below, okay? And this is your ninth question. And your 10th question is, what's the best way to deal with pesky robocalls? As to speak with a supervisor. Option B, use a career approved smartphone app. Option C, register your phone number to the to call list. Register your phone number to the do not call list. So comment the answer in the chat box. So I'll show you the entire four quiz questions today. So comment me down again. Okay. And yes, this is how today's questions and today's topic. Hope you learned well. And if you have any queries, and comment in the chat. Okay, thank you.